These are the famous potatoes that taste better than making meat. All right, the first step of the recipe is to add 800 grams of cut up potatoes into a pot. I cut them into cubes. Now let's go ahead and pour on some boiling water, and we are going to cook these potatoes until they're nice and tender. All right, after a few minutes, go ahead and turn off the heat, and we're going to drain the water. In a saucepan, we're going to add some butter. Go ahead and melt that butter well. Once the butter is melted, add in 1 grated carrot. And we want to stir this around until that carrot is sauteed. And this is the result that we're looking for. We're now going to turn the heat off and set this aside. In a bowl, add those boiled potatoes, and we are going to mash them until they form a nice, smooth puree. And this is the texture we're looking for. Now you can go ahead and add those carrots that we just prepared. We're also going to need 150 grams of grated mozzarella cheese, some parsley to taste, and go ahead and mix everything together. This potato recipe is perfect. Once you've finished mixing, this is what we want it to look like. These potatoes are so perfect. Now just scoop out a small amount of dough with a spoon and shape it into a small dumpling shape. We're just going to put that on a plate while we prepare the rest of the potatoes. This step is super simple, super easy. Now, if you prefer, you can wait for the potatoes to cool down so you don't burn yourself. Told you, this was so easy to make. I love doing this step, it's so relaxing. All right, when we finish preparing our potatoes, we're going to go ahead and add 2 eggs into a bowl. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of yogurt, along with 3 tablespoons of flour. Go ahead and mix everything together until it's well combined. And we're going to use this mixture to bread our potatoes. All right, after mixing, we're going to go ahead and dunk our potatoes into this mixture just like this. Spread it around like this, but do it nice and careful. And just finish this process with all the potatoes. And the last step is to fry. Fry the potatoes in a pan with oil. These are going to be so good. I cannot wait to try them. I'm telling you, this recipe is perfect. You have got to give this a try at home. Make sure you fry all the dumplings just like this. I am always making this recipe at home because everybody loves it and they always finish the whole thing. This recipe is simple and the flavors are just so perfect. Now I went ahead and added several dumplings to my pan. We want to let these fry on one side, and then when they're done frying on one side, we're going to turn them over. I'm just going to use 2 forks to help me. These have been going for a few minutes already. Oh, my mouth is watering. Look how crispy these are. You've got to try this at home. You won't regret it. All right, let's let these cook on the other side. And after just a few minutes, our recipe is ready. Let's go ahead and turn the heat off and serve these on a plate. I just put a paper towel down just to soak up any excess oil. And that is it. We have to try these. Look how good they look. Get your family together and enjoy. To start this recipe, we're going to take 1 can of condensed milk and add it to some cornstarch. Next, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of butter. And now I'm going to mix everything together until it is well incorporated. This recipe only has 3 ingredients. It is so easy to do. Once everything is mixed up, it's going to start to look like this. As I was mixing my recipe, I noticed that mine was a bit too liquidy and not the point that we need it to be. So I'm going to be adding a bit more cornstarch. Now, this step completely depends on the brand of your condensed milk. You might not need to do this. If you don't need to, don't add any more cornstarch. Okay, now that I've added a bit more cornstarch, I'm going to mix it with a spoon, and it's starting to become a little bit tough here. So at this point, when you can't use a spoon or a fork, use your hands, just like this. This recipe is so amazing. Okay, this is the texture. It's going to look like this. Once it turns into a dough, we are going to place this onto a cutting board. I'm going to roll it out into a bit of a loaf here. Once it's flattened like this, I'm going to cut it into strips. We want this to try and be even squares. It's going to help us keep our dough in similar sizes. Okay, so we're going to take our pieces and we are going to start to roll them into balls. We want our balls to be the same size. It's important that our balls are not different sizes. Just remember that. That's why I cut it into even pieces. Okay, now we're going to take our dough balls and we're going to add them to a pan, just like this. It's important that they're spaced out well enough because they can't stick together. This space is really, really important to make sure our recipe is going to turn out. Now I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to just gently press onto these dough balls just to make a little bit of an imprint. It's going to make our cookies look super pretty. This isn't necessary. Only do this step if you want to, but I suggest doing it. Okay, now that we've pressed down on our cookies, we're going to bake this for 12 minutes at 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Only 12 minutes. All right, our cookies are ready. This recipe is going to melt in your mouth. They are so good. Try it at home. This cabbage is tastier than meat. We're going to start the recipe by adding half of a chopped cabbage into a pot. And we want to cover that cabbage with some boiling water. After you add that boiling water, we're going to turn the heat on high and we want to cook this cabbage for about 10 minutes. All right, it's been 10 minutes. Our cabbage is perfect. Now we just want to go ahead and drain that water using a sieve or a strainer. And just using a spatula or a spoon, you just want to squeeze that cabbage to remove as much water as possible. And now we're going to set this aside to cool. In a pan, add a small amount of oil, and then we're going to add in 2 chopped onions. And we want to saute these onions until they are nice and soft and a golden brown color. When your onions change color, it is time to add the rest of our ingredients. We can go ahead and turn the heat off. We are going to add these onions into a bowl. Do it nice and carefully because these are really hot. We're also going to add in our cooked cabbage from earlier. Go ahead and give everything a good mix together until it's well combined. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. So let's start off with 3 eggs. We're going to need some green onions to taste. Now let's go ahead and season. I'm going to start with a tablespoon of salt, a spoonful of paprika, a spoonful of black pepper. We're also going to add about 4 tablespoons of flour and just add it right in, just like this. That's looking so good. And now let's go ahead and mix everything together until all of the ingredients are well combined. All right, after mixing, we should have a consistent mixture. And the next step is frying. So with the spoon, just take a small amount of your batter. And we are going to make small dumplings, or honestly, whatever size you prefer would be great. And we're going to fry them in some olive oil. That's what I've got in my pan. So go ahead and just gently place them on your pan to fry. And that is it. Now we just need to wait for them to fry on one side. We're going to let these fry for approximately 5 to 7 minutes. All right, it's been a few minutes. Go ahead and turn those dumplings over just using a spatula. And we're going to fry again on the other side for a few more minutes. All right, after frying, these are ready to go. We can now just turn off our heat. We're going to remove those cabbage dumplings from our pan. This recipe is perfect to serve with rice and meat, but now we have to give these a taste. I'm telling you, the flavor of this recipe is incredible and it's so easy to come together. Make it for lunch or dinner. I know your family is going to love this recipe so much. My mouth always waters when I make this recipe. Give it a try. Enjoy.